On November 21st, 2025, over Dubai's Al Maktoum International Airport, India's Tejas fighter jet, performing an aerobatic routine, encountered a tragic accident that changed a celebratory air show into a scene of shock and grief. The pilot, Wing Commander Namansh Sial, an experienced officer of the Indian Air Force, was executing a complex maneuver when the jet suddenly lost altitude and balance. Despite his efforts, the aircraft could not recover and crashed. The resulting explosion caused flames and thick smoke, and emergency teams responded immediately to contain the fire and assist any injured individuals. The Indian Air Force confirmed the accident and stated that the pilot sustained fatal injuries. UAE authorities acknowledged the response by firefighting and medical teams and emphasized that investigations were underway. The IAF also announced the establishment of an inquiry court to determine the cause of the crash. Eyewitness accounts and video evidence suggest that the jet faced difficulties during a negative G or balance-losing maneuver. Some reports indicate that the pilot attempted to steer the aircraft away from populated areas to minimize harm. One witness stated that the pilot tried to regain control, but the speed was too high and the altitude too low. The incident occurred on the final day of the airshow, temporarily halting the event while rescue operations were carried out. The airshow resumed after about an hour, with a Russian aerobatic team performing in a quiet, somber display. Wing Commander Sial's life and dedication inspired many. At 37 years old, he had become a symbol of courage, and his death was a significant loss for the Indian Air Force. The Tejas fighter, an indigenous light combat aircraft, represents India's self-reliant defense capabilities, and the crash raised questions about safety and operational performance. Both India and the UAE issued statements of condolence. The UAC offered support for a joint investigation, and the IAF assured the public that a thorough inquiry would take place to prevent similar incidents in the future. The crash generated widespread discussion across India, highlighting the inherent risks of low-level aerobatic maneuvers and the potential for mechanical or technical failure. Analysts emphasized the pilot's courage in attempting to save the aircraft until the last moment. Wing Commander Namansh Sial's legacy remains in his service, bravery, and dedication to aviation. His life and sacrifice continue to inspire. In the Tejas jet, despite the tragedy, symbolizes the ambition and capabilities of India's defense industry. The sky that once represented his passion has now become a memorial to his extraordinary courage and unwavering commitment. The morning after the tragic crash of Wing Commander Namansh Sial's Tejas fighter jet, the air in both India and Dubai was heavy with grief and solemn reflection. News channels across the world carried images and videos from the airshow where the proud roar of aircraft engines had been replaced by silence and mourning. Social media erupted with tributes, memories, and discussions about what had happened, as well as debates over safety protocols in airshows. The Indian Air Force immediately mobilized a dedicated investigation team. Senior officials, engineers, and flight safety experts were dispatched to Dubai to collaborate with UAE authorities. The primary goal was to understand, in detail, the sequence of events that led to the catastrophic loss of the aircraft and its pilot. Preliminary reports suggested that the crash occurred during a low-altitude, high-speed maneuver known as a negative G turn, a move that imposes extreme stress on both pilot and aircraft. In the days that followed, the IAF released a statement emphasizing that Wing Commander Sial's bravery and skill had likely prevented further casualties on the ground. Eyewitness accounts confirmed this. Despite the aircraft being out of control, Sial had attempted to steer the jet away from crowded areas and spectators. Military analysts praised his instinctive professionalism, noting that in such critical seconds, most pilots would struggle to make decisions while grappling with a machine as complex and sensitive as the Tejas fighter. The technical investigation revealed multiple aspects that required scrutiny. First, the Tejas aircraft itself, India's indigenous light combat fighter, was under examination. While it represented a significant milestone for Indian aerospace engineering, every new generation of aircraft undergoes rigorous post-incident evaluation. Engineers examined flight control systems, engine performance, and structural integrity. There was particular interest in the aircraft's response to negative G maneuvers, as well as any anomalies in hydraulic or electronic control systems that might have contributed to the crash. Simultaneously, the human element was analyzed. Flight data recorders, cockpit instrumentation logs, and telemetry were closely studied to reconstruct Wing Commander Sial's actions during the last crucial moments. Experts noted that at extremely low altitude, even minor errors in judgment or slight mechanical anomalies could quickly escalate into irrecoverable situations. The data suggested that Sial had made every effort possible to stabilize the aircraft, but the combination of high speed, low altitude, and maneuver complexity proved fatal. Across India, the news of the crash reverberated in multiple spheres. Political leaders expressed condolences, recognizing both the loss of a national hero and the broader implications for India's defense capabilities. The Prime Minister issued a statement honoring Sial's courage, emphasizing that his sacrifice symbolized the unwavering spirit of the Indian Air Force. In Parliament, members discussed enhanced safety protocols for airshows, the importance of continuous pilot training, and the need for transparent investigations into high-risk aviation incidents. Meanwhile, Dubai's local authorities worked closely with Indian investigators. The UAE Air Force shared radar data, video footage, and witness statements. Their cooperation ensured that the investigation proceeded smoothly, combining international expertise to reach an accurate and factual understanding. Both countries emphasized that the goal was not to assign blame prematurely, but to learn lessons that could prevent future tragedies. Public memorials began to take shape. In Sial's hometown, streets were lined with flowers, photographs, and messages of condolence. Schools, Air Force academies, and community centers held moments of silence in his honor. Former colleagues and trainees recalled his dedication, courage, and calm demeanor under pressure. Many noted that Sial had often volunteered for complex missions, believing that skill and preparation could overcome the most dangerous challenges. His reputation as both a fearless pilot and a compassionate leader inspired admiration across the Air Force and beyond. Technical forums and aviation enthusiasts engaged in detailed discussions about the Tejas aircraft. Debates ranged from the strengths of its indigenous design to potential improvements in safety protocols during airshows. Experts highlighted that while the aircraft's engineering was sound, high-risk aerobatic maneuvers always carried inherent danger. These discussions were not about criticism, but about advancing aviation knowledge, learning from real-world incidents, and honoring the memory of those who risked their lives to push technological boundaries. As the investigation continued, more layers of the story emerged. Interviews with other pilots who had flown similar routines confirmed that the negative G maneuver required exceptional skill. The timing, speed, and spatial awareness needed were unparalleled, and even minor miscalculations could result in catastrophic outcomes. Wing Commander Sial's peers emphasized that his performance until the very last moment demonstrated professionalism and courage that were rare even among elite pilots. International defense analysts also paid attention. The crash sparked discussions about the safety standards of airshows globally, the challenges of low-altitude aerobatics, and the balance between showcasing cutting-edge military technology and ensuring public safety. Aviation organizations in Eastern Europe and North America reviewed these events to assess whether updated guidelines or training protocols were necessary to minimize risks. Amid all this, the human story remained central. Families of fellow pilots, young cadets, and aviation enthusiasts reflected on the fleeting nature of life and the extraordinary bravery required to serve in the Air Force. Tributes poured in from around the world, celebrating Sial not only as a skilled pilot, but as a symbol of sacrifice, discipline, and honor. His life story inspired articles, essays, and documentaries examining the challenges and risks faced by military aviators. Within the IAF, the incident prompted a renewed focus on pilot support systems, psychological counseling, emergency response, drills and mentorship programs were reinforced. The organization recognized that the legacy of Wing Commander Sial was not just in his heroic last moments, but also in inspiring an entire generation of aviators to uphold the values of courage, skill, and responsibility. The findings of the investigation, though technical in nature, confirmed a central truth. This was a hero's sacrifice. Despite the tragic outcome, Wing Commander Sial's decisions in the cockpit likely prevented casualties on the ground. His skill, composure, and quick thinking were acknowledged in reports submitted to Indian defense authorities and shared with global aviation experts. In the following months, commemorations were held. Awards and honors were posthumously conferred on Wing Commander Sial, recognizing his bravery and service. The Tejas program continued, incorporating lessons learned from the crash to enhance safety and performance. Engineers worked on updated flight control systems, reinforced structural components, and enhanced pilot assistance technologies. The aim was to honor Sial's memory by ensuring that future pilots could operate with greater confidence and reduced risk. The broader public narrative also emphasized resilience. While the airshow tragedy was a somber reminder of the risks of aviation, it highlighted the human spirit's capacity to confront danger with courage and integrity. Schools, universities, and youth organizations used Sial's story as an example of dedication, bravery, and selflessness.